Hey, did you see what happened with the markets today? It looks like we had a bit of a downturn, right?
Yeah, actually, it wasn't a pretty picture. The Sensex took a hit, dropping 425 points to 75,311, and the Nifty slipped 117 points, ending at 22,796. A sea of red out there, it seems.
Wow, okay. So what was behind the slump then? Was there a particular sector dragging things down or?
Several sectors were struggling, to be honest. Banking and auto stocks really took a tumble. Nifty Bank was down 0.7%, Nifty PSU Bank dropped 1.3%, and auto was hit pretty hard, down 2.6%. In fact, almost everything was in the red, except for Nifty Metal, which actually managed to climb about 1%.
That's interesting. Metal being the exception. I wouldn't have guessed that. So were there any specific companies that really felt the pain today?
Oh yeah, M&M and Tata Motors both took a significant hit. M&M plunged 6.2% and Tata Motors was down 2.5%. I mean, that's a pretty sizable drop, you know.
Right. Any idea why those two specifically took such a big hit?
Well, it seems to be tied to concerns about potential EV duty cuts. There's talk that the government might ease EV import rules, which could open the door for more foreign players. It's like adjusting the rules of a game halfway through, right?
Ah, I see. So more competition heating up. That makes sense. It's all about Tesla, isn't it?
Exactly. Tesla's been accelerating its efforts to sell cars in India. The rumor is that Elon Musk's Tesla Inc. is likely to start by directly importing cars rather than committing to local manufacturing right away.
So if Tesla is coming in, the government is thinking about lowering import duties to make it easier for them, and other EV players.
Right, and that's what's spooking the market. The government's readiness to reduce import duties on EVs suggests they're trying to attract foreign players and boost India's presence in the global EV supply chain. It is quite a shift in policy.
It's kind of like opening the floodgates then, isn't it? Well, do you think it's good in the long run?
In the long run, potentially, but in the short term, it could mean tougher competition for domestic automakers. Investors are probably wary about how these companies will adapt.
So it wasn't just the big guys feeling the heat today, was it?
No, the mid and small caps also struggled. The Nifty Mid Cap 100 was down 1.3%, and the Small Cap 100 dropped 0.7%. They're actually down quite a bit from their highs, something like 16 space to 20%.
Ouch. Is there any good news at all, or are we just in doom and gloom territory here?
Well, it's not all bad necessarily. DIIs, domestic institutional investors, actually bought 2,885 crore rupees worth of shares. But that wasn't enough to offset the selling pressure from foreign investors.
Right. So the FIIs are still pulling out. How much did they offload today?
They offloaded a hefty 3,449 crore rupees. That's a pretty significant amount, you know.
Okay, so foreign investors are selling, domestic investors are buying, and the rupee is weakening. What's the deal with the rupee?
The rupee closed at 86.67 against the USD. Foreign outflows are definitely putting pressure on it.
So everything is down here. What's going on in the rest of the world?
Well, that's where it gets a little more interesting. Global markets are actually doing pretty well. There's a lot of optimism around AI, and that's boosting stocks in the Asia Pacific region. Alibaba, for example, soared 14.6%.
So while we're down, other markets are up. It's like we're out of sync.
Yeah, exactly. It highlights the different factors influencing various markets. I mean, we're dealing with EV duty concerns and FII outflows, while other markets are riding the AI wave.
I guess that's how it goes, huh? What about oil prices? I know that can have a big impact on our market as well.
Crude oil is actually down a bit. Brent is at $75 a barrel and WTI is at 71.25 a barrel.
Okay, so lower oil prices, that's probably a good thing, right? Does that soften the blow at all?
It could help a little, but it seems like the other factors are having a stronger influence right now. It's a bit like trying to bail water out of a leaky boat, you know?
Right. So summing it up, domestic market down due to a bunch of factors, global markets up on AI, and oil prices are down slightly.
Pretty much. Concerns about EV duty cuts, continuous selling by FIIs, and a weakening rupee are all contributing to the downturn here.
All right. Anything else we should know about all of this?
Well, it's definitely a reminder that markets can be volatile. It's always a good idea to stay informed and be prepared for ups and downs. Also, a quick disclaimer, we advise investors to check with certified experts before taking any investment decisions.
Good point. So what do you think is next? Are we going to see a recovery soon, or are we in for more of the same?
That's the million-dollar question. It really depends on how the government handles these EV import regulations and whether FIIs decide to come back. It's all a bit uncertain at the moment. If you guys are enjoying the content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's a wait and see kind of situation, isn't it? But thanks for breaking it all down for me. I feel like I have a much better understanding of what's going on now.
No problem. Always happy to help. It's like trying to understand the weather. Lots of different factors all swirling around at once.
Absolutely. So, are you making any moves in your portfolio based on today's market activity?
Well, I'm definitely keeping a close eye on things. I might consider rebalancing a bit, but I'm not planning any major changes right now. It's like I'm adjusting my sails, but I'm not abandoning ship,
Right. I'll be doing the same. This has been really insightful. Thanks again.
Anytime. Markets are always keeping us on our toes.
So, the big question now is how will these EV duty adjustments affect the longer term growth of the auto sector?
That's a really critical point. The government's decisions here will shape the competitive landscape for years to come. It's a bit like setting the rules for a marathon before the race even starts.
And if Tesla does start importing, how quickly will other foreign manufacturers follow suit?
Exactly. If Tesla sees success, it could encourage a whole wave of new entrants. The market could get very crowded very quickly.
So the potential for market disruption is pretty high then.
Absolutely. Existing players will need to innovate and adapt to stay ahead. Otherwise, they could find themselves falling behind.
How do you see this impacting the smaller auto component manufacturers, the ones that supply the big players?
That's a crucial point. They could face even greater challenges as the big automakers adjust their supply chains to accommodate foreign EVs. It's a bit like being a small fish in a big pond.
Right, they could get swallowed up pretty easily.
Sadly, yes. They will need to focus on niche markets and develop specialized expertise to survive.
So, what other global factors could come into play that might shift things again?
Well, changes in global trade policies, fluctuations in currency exchange rates, and even geopolitical events could all have a significant impact.
It really is a complex web of interconnected factors, isn't it?
Definitely. That's why staying informed and having a long-term perspective is so important.
Thanks for breaking it down. It's been a helpful conversation.
Always a pleasure.